The land of smiles is undergoing an economic transformation as part of its Thailand 4.0 plan. What does it mean for companies and how can they tap into new areas of growth? We find out on Managing Asia. Hello and welcome to Managing Asia. I'm Christine Tan. In this episode of our Thailand series, we speak to two companies, Sri Trang Group and Viyavood, to find out how they're using research and development and technology to drive Thailand one step closer to becoming the leading medical hub of Asia. Thailand wants to be recognized as more than just a destination for medical tourism. The government's aim is to transform the country into Asia's premier medical center by 2025 as part of the Thailand 4.0 plan. Since 2016, the government has focused on strengthening four areas in the healthcare industry: wellness, medical services, academic research, and medical products, which include vaccines and equipment. The recent pandemic has not deterred investments in Thailand's medical industry. According to the country's Board of Investment, it reported a threefold increase in investment applications from local and foreign investors in the first 9 months of 2021. This growing investor interest is good news for researchers based there, says Viyavood, a plant-based pharmaceutical company.
There's a lot of research in the universities, a lot of professors, a lot of researchers are publishing their innovations in the medical journals. And when it comes to clinical trials in Thailand, we know that Thailand is a hub in this region, that a lot of pharmaceutical industries are coming to Thailand to do their clinical trials.
Part of Thailand 4.0 plan is to encourage innovation using technology in the country's medical device industry. One of the companies in the sector is Sri Trang Group, Thailand's largest medical glove producer. The company says it has been quick to innovate and incorporate smart technology to improve its manufacturing lines.
In 2017 to 2021, a short 4 to 5 years, we really make a ramp up in our glove manufacturing. We could do so fast at a later stage because a lot of disruptions in the industry, and we just had to take it and then go along with it. I think that we are right there right now in terms of the medical device, especially medical glove, and we think that the next 4 or 5 years will be more interesting for us.
And innovation continues to be an indispensable ingredient for the company's growth, says Sri Trang.
You really have to develop. That's why most of the medical glove, I believe that medical glove companies, they do have their own innovation engineering hub. We have close to 1,000 scientists and engineers working purely on the machines and the innovation and R&D. It is a must, or else you will not be able to survive in this industry.
Still, there are some gaps as Thailand aims to transform its medical industry.
When we talk about real medical innovations that come from research into commercializations, I think we are lack of those things. And I think that would be a key that would make Thailand to step up more to another level on those medical innovation, and also to promote Thailand as a medical hub for tourism and for everything else.
Next, we take a closer look at Sri Trang Group on how it's meeting the surge in global demand for gloves brought on by the pandemic. Sri Trang Group, founded in 1987, owns the entire value chain, from growing its own rubber plantations to manufacturing end products such as latex and nitrile gloves and high-pressure hydraulic hoses through its subsidiaries, Sri Trang Agro Industry, the world's largest natural rubber producer, and Sri Trang Gloves, Thailand's largest medical glove maker. I caught up with the group's chairman and managing director, Viyavood Sincharoenkul, in Singapore. The pandemic saw you sell 28 billion pieces of gloves at the end of 2020. That boosted your overall group revenue by roughly about 40%. Do you think you can continue to sustain that kind of growth once the pandemic subsides?
We have utilized all our capacities in natural rubber and in glove. So that's why we are in the mood of expansion right now. The last expansion, it took us 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years to double the capacity. But now I think it will take us no more than 2 years. That's very fast in terms of doubling the capacity. Yeah. No more than 3, 2 to more than 3. And there's a lot of innovation in terms of you have to think of your technology. Yeah.
In the past year alone, there were 10 new players getting into the business as the country's largest glove manufacturer. What are you doing to fight off all that competition?
I think it's the same names, same people. Yeah. I don't think there are any new significant players that we see in the market, no. And then the customers are almost the same also. Yeah. And if a new sector that is evolving in terms of medical glove usage are non-medical. Yeah. There's a lot of it coming on right now in the market.
Doesn't that worry you?
If you look at the demand, if that demand data is correct, which is 420, and people are putting out something like 8 to 10% a year, growth per year, that's about 30 billion glove usage increase for every year. Yeah. So I'm not too sure which is correct. If that figure is right, so I think it can accommodate whatever all these people what they are trying to do today. But the most scary thing about any expansion is the newcomers, yeah, because who come in and who thought it's so nice and then they should go throw in and do whatever, and finally they fail, but they cause a lot of bad things happen in the market.
So you don't think it will have an impact on rubber glove prices?
We have been doing gloves for 35 years, since day one during the crisis until now. We have never made losses before. So we have the kind of confidence that going forward, whether we make a little profit or big profit, it's okay because we believe in the industry, in our downstream, from plant to latex to downstream. This is what we like to be in the space.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have more with Viyavood Sincharoenkul of Sri Trang Group. And later, I speak to the co-founder and CEO of Viyavood Phytopharm, maker of Thailand's plant-based COVID-19 vaccine. Managing Asia will be right back. Welcome back to Managing Asia. Natural rubber is a commodity like any other, but rubber trees have a growing period of around 7 years before harvesting. How can you manage pricing? Viyavood Sincharoenkul runs the world's largest natural rubber company. Let's talk about the upstream, because the pandemic has clearly wreaked havoc on the natural rubber market. Prices remain volatile. How closely are you watching the price of this commodity? At what point, at what level would it start to squeeze your margins?
In the last, especially you look at the peak then in 2010, and rubber prices has always been coming down for the last 11 to 12 years, up to now. Yeah? It was the worst when the pandemic hit the industry. People were destocking, people were running away, defaulting and not buying all this, and the whole market collapsed. And you see a lot of casualties, a lot of casualties. Also in Singapore, you see a lot.
So how do you navigate through all this volatility?
That's very important. Yeah. You don't try to be a smart guy in this space. Yeah, you're never able to predict where the market is going to be. Put it in a way that you have to be realistic. Yeah, you have to find ways of creating your margin for yourself.
And how do you do that at Sri Trang?
You try to clean up the market. You can even take out the bank. You don't need them because you can go straight to the farmers. You don't need all this because a company like us, we can even issue bonds, big bonds. Yeah, we can do a lot of orderly manner with the farmer. That we are focused in the manufacturing. That's why I always like to tell people we are not a trader. We are not commodity trade. You don't tell me whether the market is going up or coming down. We just want to focus in manufacturing, and that's what we are doing. We are putting new plants, and then the farmers, the people can bring in rubber. And you have a good, a fair price. You got a fair price that everybody can live. Consumers are happy, you are happy.
I understand you're going to invest something like 2.3 billion Singapore dollars to triple your production capacity in the next few years. Once installed, what will total production capacity look like?
Total capacity that will look like, we hope by then it will be 20% of the world supply, world demand and supply.
So given the investment you're pouring into the business, do you think Sri Trang can overtake its Malaysian rivals to be number one in global glove production soon? Secret ambition.
I don't want to be number one. I think it's so difficult to maintain to be number one. You are number one in size, but are you the best? You know, it's nice to be number three. Always look up to be number two, and see how they go, and they can guide you, and then it really doesn't make any difference if 1 and 2 and 3 are so close. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
So whether it's Sri Trang Gloves or Sri Trang Agro Industry, what is your overall vision for the group?
I think that whether you're going to win this game, you have a lot of history. You have seen it before. A lot of, especially in the natural rubber, I think it's no different from glove, from medical glove. When you grow so big and suddenly you collapse. And when you grow so big and suddenly you collapse. In the past, it takes you about 20, 30, 40 years to build a company of that size. Really a company of that size. Now everything has changed so much. And it takes you only 5 years to do whatever you want to do with the disruptive economy, technology. You have to look at everything for the next, I would say for the next, no more than 5 years. I think we always say 5 years in the past is a long-term planning. I think 5 years will be too late. Yeah. We need to squeeze it in a little bit in, say, in 9 months to 18 months.
So things are speeding up.
The speed is very, very important, and the people of all, they are the most important people. That is my good weapon that people are not aware of. We have access to finance, we have access to technology, you can buy, you can develop, but important thing is the people, whether you have or you don't have.
That's your secret weapon?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you and your father founded Sri Trang way back in 1987. He has now retired, and you now sit as chairman of the entire group. You're in charge of 16,000 employees. What is it about the company's corporate culture that has made the family business so successful all these years?
I think the key is the culture of Thailand. Thai culture is we respect seniority. Everywhere you go, that's the first thing you do. Up there, you worship the God. Here, you say, hello, how are you? I think this is the culture we have in Thai. And it's passed through generation by generation, seniority. And then family is another one big pool of things that we develop. We'll take care of all our staff like a family member. When COVID came, we vaccinate all. Whether you are foreigners, you are local, you are senior, you are junior, we vaccinated all our staff. They appreciate that very much. And then what more we have, I think, is our joint venture experiences we have. Yeah, deal with multinational peoples, and from European to American to Chinese to Asians and all this, especially in Singapore. And I would say that but when we manage like a global management. Yeah. We are fierce.
How fierce?
Very fierce. We are a fighter. We are all fighters. And that's why I would say that this is our culture. And it will continue to be so. And now speed is very important. The timing also is very important. No wastage. Everybody knows. And a lot of strong debate in terms of making a lot of decisions. Automatically, they all go through that process.
Dr. Viyavood, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for inviting me.